All right, guys, today we got a 2015 Cadillac Escalade with a 6.2 liter in it. Amazon has struck again. Let's get into it. A very interesting and convoluted backstory on this vehicle, so let me try to get to you as quickly as possible. It came into us, and the client's concern was on first startup, when he first starts at cold in the morning, it skips really bad, and wanted to have that looked at. Okay. Got it in. Chris started to look at it, definitely verified the complaint on a cold start. It was running really, really bad, and it was sitting in front of the bay, and it ran out of gas on us. It said it had 45 miles to empty on the dash, Chris said, but it ran out of gas. We went ahead, we got some gas for it, put the gas in it, and Chris got it diagnosed. He said it was the fuel injectors, and we do a carbon cleaning, or do a walnut blasting when we do that. Very common on these engines. Sadly, because of the running out of gas, trying to diagnose it, the client was kind of needing an answer. We did not follow our normal procedure, which would be to test drive the vehicle and be sure that we were getting everything covered. So Chris never test drove it before we did the work. I know that's really not optimal, but it is what it is. We did do a pre-scan on the vehicle, and there was only one code in the engine module, and that was for the cold start misfire, which is like misfire in the first, I think, 1,000 revolutions, something like that. So client authorized to work. We're going to get to that in a second. Authorized to work, and we put the injectors in it. We did the walnut blasting. Chris started up, said that the cold start misfire was gone. Chris drove it, didn't have an issue. Put it in car wash washed it. Then our client care people always test drive it on the last test drive. And on that test drive, Tammy said that it wouldn't go. It was very sluggish and didn't have any power. It didn't want to run. It was really running bad, really bad. So Chris checked it out. Now all of a sudden we've got 4 oxygen sensor codes. We thought, maybe it's something that Chris, was done. Maybe a connector, maybe, a ground wire wasn't put back on. I mean, all 4 oxygen sensors done codes is extremely unusual. Chris got it back in and checked everything out that he did. Could not find anything wrong. So at that point, I kind of, I stepped in. I said, let me take a look at this thing. Let's go ahead and get the truck in the shop right now, because I'm going to show you the data that I pulled up when we test drove the vehicle on the oxygen sensors. And then I'm going to tell you the story about, there's more to the story with the client also. So let's get it in the shop and take a look at this data. And I'm doing a recording of that recording, so it's going to be a little bit different, but we'll watch this real quick. It'll just scroll up. We see we have a PO132. We have basically a circuit high on the upstream O2 sensor on bank 1. We have a circuit low on the downstream O2 sensor on bank 1. We have a circuit high on the bank 2 upstream and a circuit low on the bank 2 downstream. And then we have an idle speed low. So we've got 4 O2 sensor codes. All right. And these were not there when the car came in. What have we done to do this, right? What caused this issue? What could we possibly have touched? And Chris has gone over everything that he's done already. So let's go ahead and fast forward this data. I just grabbed all kinds of data here just to look at it. Here's our data on our O2 sensors. This is us driving it down the road. Yes, I did not get RPM and speed. I should have got those to show you guys, but I assure you, it's me driving the car down the road. I just paused it. I want to show you something. If you look right here, we are in open loop. This vehicle, we're on the road up here. This car's been running at this point for 10 minutes. It should not be in open loop. We look at our O2 sensors. They're doing absolutely nothing. That's our bank 1 sensor 1. Here's our bank 2 sensor 1. There's just nothing happening there. They're just flatlined, right? And again, this supposedly wasn't a problem when it came in, supposedly. Now, when we saw this, we're like, okay, this makes 0 sense. We've got nothing, no activity on our upstreams. I mean, they're dead doing nothing. And then on our downstreams, if we let this thing run for just a second, you're going to see that it's got a pop here and a pop there. It gets a little bit. There's one right there on our bank 1 sensor 2. But that's all it does. The bank 2 sensor 2 is going to do the same thing here in just a second. Our fuel trims are sitting at 0. This thing is not controlling the fuel, right? It's in an open loop, so we know it's not controlling the fuel, but it doesn't have any feedback to control it. The O2 sensors are doing 0. So Chris was like, okay. I said, we checked the circuits going to them. I mean, 402 sensors, right? Are we sure that we didn't have a ground wire off? Are we sure that there's not something common here to cause this? I mean, you're not going to have 402 sensors go bad in a matter of minutes, right? So Chris, like, I double checked everything. It's all right. Everything that I touched is back together correctly. Okay. Well, we got to the O2 sensors and we looked at them underneath the truck. Let me show you what we found. These are the O2 sensors we pulled out of it. Let's take a real close look at them. Chris got under there, looked at it, found these things. He looked at the number on them. Where's the number out on them? Somewhere on here. I think somewhere like right in here. But he was able to find them online. TRQ something. The first sign that there's a problem, though, is these are the front and rear O2 sensors, and they are all identical. They're the same sensor in this car. They're not the same sensor for that vehicle. That vehicle takes two. We have the right sensors here. I'm going to show you the difference in them. So if you buy sensors and they all look exactly the same for a vehicle, they're not going to be right. The rear ones and the front ones are different sensors. So he bought them. We found these. The man bought these on Amazon for $132 for a set of 4, right? So there's our problem with our O2 sensors. And I'm going to show you the data when we put new ones in it. Let me show you what the new ones look like. We got a couple of them here. This is a front O2 sensor for this vehicle. And this is a genuine GM part for this vehicle. And yep, you can see there is a big difference in those two sensors. Here is a rear sensor for this vehicle. Again, different. And now you can see there's a difference between the two. So $132 set of Amazon O2 sensors. Crazy, right? Dead. Why? Here's the thing. This got very convoluted with the client, right? Because we're sitting here trying to figure out what happened and how could this possibly have just had a misfire on cold start, which is the only code that was in it. We did not look at the monitors. We should have, we did a pre-scan, but unfortunately the pre-scan didn't get the monitor status, so we don't know if the monitors had run, if somebody had cleared the codes recently. We don't know. All we know is this. Nothing that we did caused these 4 O2 sensors to be wrong for the vehicle, right? And it ran really bad. So we called the client up and we're like, listen, you need to come in and talk to us. He came in, he sat down, I said, and at that point, we already put in 4 sensors. I put them in there to be sure, because I'm like, I want to be 100% sure that this isn't some weird, I'm thinking about this wrong.
We need to show them the data.
Let's show the data on that. This is with the 4 new O2 sensors, the actual GM O2 sensors. Right off the bat, we can see it's in closed loop. It went into closed loop pretty quickly after we started it. You can see where it went into closed loop. We've got O2 sensor are functioning. They're doing their thing. We do have the rear O2 sensor here, and the rear O2 sensor here shouldn't have that much movement. But I will tell you, we've driven this thing quite a bit now, and they have gotten better. We've got other issues with this thing too. We're not done telling you about Amazon parts with this car. Don't tune away yet, because it gets even deeper with Amazon parts. But right now, we see that we've got O2 sensor. Let me go ahead and play this. You guys can see it. We've got O2 sensor switching. It's functional. Now we've got fuel trims. You can see the fuel trims are not good, but they do get better. We're going to do other things to make them better with Amazon parts. And also just driving it helped it a little bit, but then we got to a point where it wasn't getting any better than that, so we had to dig it into a little deeper. We're going to walk back over there in a second. We're going to show you the other stuff. Real quick, we told you there was a little bit of unusual situation with this client. We called the client after we found the 402 sensors going, all 402 sensors being, wonky and not doing what they were supposed to do. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like, well, I didn't even authorize you guys to do any of the work. I didn't authorize you to do the fuel injectors, to do the walnut blasting, none of it. We're like, weird. And he works for a company who we do a lot of work for. So they even contacted us and said, hey, he's saying they didn't authorize the work. So went back. We have our phone calls are recorded. So we got the recorded phone call, pulled it up, and clearly we're telling him it needs this, and this is how much it's going to be. Do you want to go ahead and go forward? And he says yes. So I don't know what happened there. It was very unusual that somebody would do that after they've authorized the work. I think that, you know, perhaps he's just, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. All I do know is that he was saying that, you know, he didn't authorize the work. We talked to the people that we deal with at the company that he works for. We're like, let's keep this thing. Let's figure out what's going on with it. That's when we got a little deeper into it, spent some time on it for him. And then we called him up and had him come in here. He came in, I talked to him. We had a good conversation. I really didn't mention anything about him not saying anything about the paying for the bill. I just went under the assumption that you did authorize the bill because we'd already told, you know, the work, because we already told his bosses that, you know, we've got the recorded conversation and they actually listened to the recorded conversation. So I didn't even go down that route. We kind of got into the whole O2 sensor deal and why it was doing it. And now it makes more sense to me because, yeah, it was running bad. It was more than just a cold start problem. Yes, there was a cold start misfire, no doubt about it, but there was more problems than that. Had he just been forthcoming with that, we could have gotten all this kind of, you know, put to bed fairly quickly in the beginning. But did have a good conversation with him, and that's when we kind of got into, I said, okay, we're going to keep those O2 sensors in there, and we're going to, you know, you're going to pay us for that. And then we're going to go and look at it a little further and see if we can't get into these fuel trims and get into anything else, right? He did tell me some other stuff that he did that we're about to go over and see. But hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this thing and Amazon parts. Let's get back to the video. Back over at the parts counter. We still got our, man, his face is as red as his beard. So even after the oxygen sensors were in there and they're functional, we still are not, you know, our fuel trims are not where they need to be, and it does run rough at times. It's got misfires, active misfires at times that you can feel in the car. It's not horrible, but it's there, right? And now that we've cleaned up some other stuff, you can kind of feel a little bit more. So we inspected it, and we saw these big old wires, right? So these are definitely not factory wires. Initially, Chris thought, well, those must be some kind of MDS or some kind of, you know, aftermarket high performance wire or something like that. Well, no, we pulled a spark plug out of it. They're in here.
Let's just say too, while you're pulling that out, we're not 1,000% confident because we haven't seen them ourselves, because the Amazon pictures are kind of hard to, they're kind of like generic pictures, but we're pretty confident.
I am sure we can say that. I'm confident. This is a set of and the part number on this thing, right, is an NGK part number.
The 91418 is,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, but that's not an NGK spark plug. It says R premium. So, I mean, clearly they're got to be good. They say premium on them. This is
Tell them the price.
We looked them up on Amazon. They are $32 and some change for all the spark plugs and the wires, but you can get the performance set for $42 and some change.
Something like that.
So right in that area, 42, 43 bucks.
It was like a $5 difference between premium and...
Yeah, premium, that's what it was. So this whole set, you can't even...
The spark plugs OE are, if you're getting a good deal, about $10 a piece for the OE spark plugs.
Yeah, there's no way you're buying all the spark plug wires and the spark plugs for 40 bucks. I mean, that's not real.
25% of the normal price.
So don't go on there and buy this stuff, people. It's not good, right? It's not good stuff. All right, we got the spark plugs in it. We got the new wires on it. We went ahead and we went AC Delco. We got AC Delco spark plugs. We went AC Delco wires. And I'm not one that's, you guys know this, you watch the channel enough, I am not one that says, oh, you always have to put OE everything in everything. That's not me. But you do need to get good quality, right? And it is getting harder and harder to find that quality. So we've got that all the OE stuff in there. Let me show you the final piece of the puzzle. All right, running, right? It no longer skips going down the road. It no longer has a rough running problem. I want you to hear something though when I shut it off. This is what's causing the noise. So this has got a one-way clutch pulley on the front. So if I take my screwdriver and I just hold the alternator from turning internally, I can't turn it that way, but I can turn it this way. That's this freewheeling on the shaft. What that does, it helps with gas mileage. Well, this is messed up internally and making all that noise. We did notice, once we determined this was making the noise, we kind of went back and looked at the recordings and saw that the voltages was kind of jumping all over the place, a little more inconsistent than we would have thought. I mean, it's technically charging, but just not as evenly as we would like. Got the new alternator in it. Go ahead and start it. Go ahead and shut it up. Nice and quiet. Do it one more time, so you guys can hear. Go ahead. Nice and quiet, and it's actually quieter now. Now we can actually tell that there was a little bit of bearing noise there. We're driving it down the road. I do have the RPM up on the screen so you guys can see it, and you can see the fuel trims now are right on the money. Running great, driving great. We got the O2 sensors in it, the spark plugs, the wires, all that's done. We got the alternator on it, taking care of the noise. So this was just a lot of issues with this vehicle that some of them were were man-made, right? The injectors being bad in it, that was not a man-made issue. That was a common problem on these vehicles. I'm gonna go ahead and turn around here. That's a common problem on these vehicles. But all the other stuff, the O2 sensors coming from Amazon, the spark plugs and the wires. The thing you got to remember about spark plugs and wires is, a lot of times, if those resistances aren't correct, then sheriff just went by. Just making sure you don't want to turn around on us. On the spark plugs and the wires, what you have to remember is, if those resistances aren't correct, they may spark. They may make the engine run. They can cause other issues. They can cause issues in the electrical system in the car, because we may have excessive EMF, right? So a magnetic field created around them can cause all kinds of stuff going on in the vehicles. I've seen spark plugs and wires and wrong coils cause engine modules to do weird stuff and actually damage things. So in this case, all those compounded things just make it a little more convoluted, but we got it taken care of. He's fixed. This car is running good. Fuel trims are good. It runs good. We're all happy. All right, guys, that's it on the Cadillac. Like I always say, most of the problem cars are caused by a human being doing something to it. Not meaning they're doing something purposely wrong, but in this case, it had bad fuel injectors in it. That's not on a human being. That's just a bad design. So I guess it's on a human being at some point. But then the O2 sensors from Amazon, that's a person induced that into it. The spark plugs, the wires being from Amazon, again, a problem that was introduced to the vehicle. And when you have those, it does take a little bit of time to work through the problems. And then on top of that, we have the alternator doing its thing. So, but it's all done. It's good, runs good. Guy's going to be happy. We appreciate you guys watching. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.